My name is Eric Lee, and I am the Prime Minister of the day. Now, the motion of today is the House believes that steroids and other performance-enhancing drugs should be allowed in the Olympics. The government strongly feels that it should be allowed, and let me tell you why. The wild excitement of the London Olympics still remain among us. Olympics, as we know very well, is a worldwide athletic event. But truly, Olympic is where you challenge the limits of humankind. The best of the best athletes from each country participate to compete in this tournament, pushing themselves and body to reach the world records. The more challenging the competitions is, the better it gets. And performance-enhancing drugs help create this kind of environment. Thus, the government does not see why these drugs should be banned. Before I preview the major 2 points of the government and the third presented by the deputy, I would first like to present the definition of this motion. The definition of performance-enhancing drugs is any substance taken to perform better athletically. And the government would also like to define the term should in the motion by stating that it is a moral and practical imperative. This definition will directly relate to our first and the second arguments. The first argument of the government is that why morally we should allow performance-enhancing drugs in the Olympics. It is widely known and proven that many winners in the past have been drug sheep. Now, here you might think, well, this is not true. I know a lot of clean athletes who never took any kind of drugs and won. Well, if that's true, you got it wrong, because yes, most athletes don't take performance-enhancing drugs during the exact week of the Olympics, the exact game. However, many and even most of the athletes take steroids and other substances in incredible amount during their practices and trainings before the games. Up to the week of Olympics, they push themselves along with these drugs and simply stop when the game was on. So you won't get caught on the doping test during the Olympics, but the effects of the steroids and these intensive substances would have already benefited your body. In fact, some take them in the Olympics and still pass. Thus, morally, it is unfair for those clean athletes who never use steroids to compete against those herds of drug sheep.
For information.
Yes.
Why do you still believe that clean athletes will take the drugs even if there is a steroid allowed?
Pardon me, I'm sorry.
Okay, even though a steroid and other performance-enhancing drug is allowed, why do you still believe that clean people will still take it?
Well, I'll explain that with this argument, okay? Previously, it may have been that it was unfair to take steroids among those who didn't, but currently, that's not how the things go now. The fact that the clean ones loses is the same as before. However, the difference is that the majority now takes steroids, and now it seems to be that it is his fault that he didn't take the drugs. Therefore, allowing the performance-enhancing drugs is a better method if people are so anxious about having a fair game. I would like to move on to my second major argument, which is practical reasons why we should have the PED. It is impractical, even impossible, to have a clean game these days. First of all, I have mentioned previously, everyone takes it. And the second is that it is impossible to take all the athletes to the doping test. Here you might think as well, in the Olympics there's limited amounts of athletes that you test. However, that's not true, because not only in the Olympics, but tournaments and the trials before that determines the athlete participating in the grand games. There are countless numbers of these trials, and this is an overload both financially and physically. Now, we also need to keep in mind that today's doping tests are so pathetic that many drug athletes passed without noticed. For example, the woman shot put gold medalist Nadzea Obstachuk, I think, lost her medal after winning at some time guilty of PED. Ridiculous how she had passed both doping tests before the game and after the game, but later proven with further investigations. What adds to this problem is that rich countries such as America and other England and that kind of stuff are capable of developing the steroids and drugs invisible to these testings. Therefore, currently, we cannot be sure that any of our gold medalists are actually clean. Sir, I'm only on 5 minutes. Yeah. Okay. Oh, it is? Okay. With the PED allowed, we don't have to worry about these invisible drugs and no more testing. And in conclusion, the opposition might surely say, humans must stick to being humans. I just want to ask, why? And if we don't keep on trying on farther limits, what's the point of Olympics? Thank you for listening.